uh, actually somebody said, I got a new idea, pass something. Hey, I don't know how to tell late night hosts this. We can't pass gas. We don't have the
We
votes.
can't even
All
determine
right.
if a bill comes to the floor, James.
Right. So let's be realistic as to what we have, and we got some things that are coming our way. The debt ceiling budget, the draconian cuts that are coming. In any Democrat, I'll make this right now. The Democratic caucus says anybody that says Doge and doesn't say Elon Musk is Doge has to pay $100. I mean, we have some things to use here, but you have to use them and not other things. And I'm going to be very vocal about being very disciplined, very determined. Very much, we got to meet the moment. And what we saw last night didn't meet the moment.
James, the establishment commentariat gave fairly high marks to Trump's State of the Union, declaring he was vigorous in full attack mode, touched all the bases of what he had done in those first 5 or 6 weeks. Even said he'd topped George Washington as the best first month in the history of every administration. Poor FDR just got left in the dust. I mean, all FDR did in his first month was close the banks, funnel out hundreds of millions of dollars of relief to a depressed country to get us off the gold standard. But that wasn't nearly as big as Trump. But I think whatever the short-term gains, and I'm not sure there will be, I think this is a bad speech, and it's not going to wear well. Not surprisingly, it's full of lies. Migration figures are wrong on claims that military enlistment suddenly started to go up when he was president. Ukraine, on Elon Musk finding canceling $8 billion federal contract. And the problem was, James, it was an $8 million federal contract. Now, maybe to Musk, that's just chump change. And those Social Security numbers were basically just made up. But lies are a way of life for Trump. And I hate to say this, but he rarely pays the price. He learned from Roy Cohn, the big lie works, never admit. But there are bigger problems. He offered no rationale, really, for those high tariffs he's imposed. Now, maybe this is just a bluff. And a couple days or a week or so, he'll remove them from Canada and Mexico, and he'll claim he got some kind of big victory. Well, he won't, but that's what he'll claim. But if they stay on and escalate, it's going to cause real pain, and he'll find other villains. But if inflation creeps up and it goes beyond, far beyond what it was when he took office, I'm sorry, people are not going to be so forgiving. And finally, almost a throwaway line, he said, we're going to balance the budget. We're going to balance the budget with tax cuts that far exceed the $5 trillion extension of the 2017. It's got all kinds of new ones. And we're not going to touch entitlements or defense, but we're going to balance the budget. Now, at some point, even though he is a great practitioner of the big lie, at some point people will see what a fraud that is, I think.
Well, to some extent, we have to have a role in doing that. And I think by the way, who in the establishment commentariat said that was a good
Well,
speech?
John Harris.
Did somebody? Oh, come on,
David
John.
Brooks.
John Harris was. It's insane. It's insane. So truth doesn't matter anymore. I mean, okay. So I can't. I can't allow myself to get ahead of myself. Save the balance the budget clip, because when they come for the debt extension, when they come to pass the tax cuts, just remind people, of course, he has no intention whatsoever. He has accumulated more debt than any president in history. It ain't been president but 4 years and 2 months now, and he's number one. Number one in all of history. Since from George Washington on, he's number one. Got to be number one at something. So I guess issuing debt is one thing he's number one at. But just save that clip, play the long game.
And the tariffs are going to haunt him because they're either going to be phony, he's going to take them off, and he's going to reveal what a big bluffer he is, or if he's real about it, it's going to cause immeasurable pain, James. It just will. I mean, I
Uh,
don't listen to Democrats on that, or don't listen to Wall Street on that. Listen to Walmart. Listen to Costco. Listen to Target. Those are the people who say prices will surge if they stay on.
well, first of all, he's going to start issuing exemptions. So this is a great shakedown. What better thing than to come in and say exempt us?
Right.
All right. So let's see what happens. But we know the way to get exempted from this is through money, and yeah, there's no person that thinks this is going to work. He's not going to be able to keep them on for very long. I mean, markets have responded horrifically to this, horrifically. And the problem here is we're going to be really tepid growth in the first quarter this year. The Atlanta Fed says negative. Our friend Roger Altman says that's too pessimistic, but even he is not very optimistic. And there's one way to kill inflation: have a recession, or better yet, a depression. That'll
Yeah.
kill inflation
Yeah.
quickly. And that'll take care of it really quickly.
Although he could pull them
Okay,
both off. He could have stagflation, James.
he, he could. But the forecasts are not are very pessimistic. The market is acting extremely pessimistically. Um, and maybe they're wrong. I don't think they are. I think we're in for rough sailing. The tariffs could do nothing but make it rougher, and he's going to sell exemptions. I promise
Yeah.
you. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. James, let's turn to the Democrats. I thought, looking
Done.
just at Tuesday night, it was the worst and the best of times, to borrow a leaf from Mr. Dickens. On the floor, Congressman Al Green of Texas made a fool of himself and his party by standing up and yelling and having to be evicted. We justifiably ridiculed those crazy Republicans like Joe Wilson and Marjorie Taylor Greene when they rudely yelled at Democratic presidents. So Greene was an embarrassment. And those members not making that kind of noise, but holding up signs about Musk lies or say Medicaid. I mean, it's just sophomore. So I don't think that was very impressive or very helpful. However, I have seen scores of State of the Union responses. It's a really difficult venue. Almost all are either forgettable or awful. Michigan freshman Senator Alyssa Slotkin gave one of the best I have ever seen or heard. She was measured, she was substantive, she focused on issues that matter to people. She channeled the Democrats' successful 2018 progressive as opposed to left wing message. Maybe that's because she was elected to the House in 2018. She understands that message. We talk about a deep bench all the time. We usually talk about the governors, and I think that's really where the most important figures are. But she's one of a handful of senators that Chuck Schumer, whose forte is as an inside player, he should have Alyssa Slotkin and a handful of others outside all the time. She is a heavyweight, both substantively and as a communicator. James, I really was impressed.
Exceedingly impressed, and the talent we have, the high end talent we have, is again. I keep repeating this, is utterly breathtaking, and she showed that. And I hope that they use her, Senator Warnock, Senator Murphy, Senator
Mm-hmm.
Gallego. I hope these are the kind of people. Democrats want to believe that everybody is equal or we're inclusive, and so everybody. When it turns to communicating the party's message and the image of the party, some people are just better than other people. Okay, it doesn't mean that they're better people. It doesn't mean that they're better legislators. It doesn't mean that they're more ethical. It just means they're better communicators. They know how to frame an issue.
Yep.
They know how to draw a contrast. Get put the best out there. And it's and it takes real and since Schumer and Hakeem have got to say, look, people, these are the people we want to do, and it's hard to do because everybody wants to be an individual. You're not the boss of me. I have an opinion. Fine. but there's some people that are just way better at doing it than other people, and get the people that are good at it out there. And we got to do that because in the thing that I believe, and I'm very passionate about this, I think the country is in the greatest peril it's been in since I've been born. That's 80 years ago. And I think that the foolishness of, I don't know, the cane or the auction paddles, I don't think that meets the moment. I think Slotkin met the
Yep.
moment. And I think that we have to treat this as what it is. This is a profound crisis that the United States is in right now. And the Democrats are kind of the only thing, and they don't have a lot of power standing between us and the abyss. So we have to be clever in the way we do it. We have to be disciplined. And I know that everybody is saying, go out, do something, God damn it. I'm tired of just sitting there. And I saw uh, actually somebody said, I got a new idea, pass something. Hey, I don't know how to tell late night hosts this. We can't pass gas. We don't have the
We
votes.
can't even
All
determine
right.
if a bill comes to the floor, James.
Uh, right. So let's be realistic as to what we have, and we got some things that are coming our way. The debt ceiling budget, the draconian cuts that are coming. In any Democrat, I'll make this right now. The Democratic caucus says anybody that says Doge and doesn't say Elon Musk is Doge has to pay $100. I mean, we have some things to use here, but you have to use them and not other things. And I'm going to be very vocal about being very disciplined, very determined. Very much, we got to meet the moment. And what we saw last night didn't meet the moment, except for Senator Slotkin, who, surprise, surprise, we got some all goddamn world talent in
Well, I
this
want to
party.
pick up on that, and I've done this before. It's a refrain, but there are, in Congress at least, there are indoor and there are outdoor politicians. Chuck Schumer is a good indoor politician. I think Nancy Pelosi was the greatest speaker, and certainly in my lifetime, who knows, maybe ever. I didn't cover Henry Clay. But she's just fair as an outside politician, a communicator on television, talking about what Trump is doing. But there are others who are so talented. Whether it's Danny Goldman or Jamie Raskin on investigative stuff, Brendan Boyle on budget stuff. It used to be Mikey Sherrill on defense. She's running for governor now. But they've got that talent. Use it and understand what you can do. And what Pelosi did inside was far more important than anybody can do outside. And that's where you play to your strength.
Yeah, I think that Speaker Pelosi, later on, I think she was pretty good on TV because she had such gravitas. She had kind of presence,
That
and tone.
helps.
Yes, it helps. But it's so important that they identify the people who really do this well and try to put them front and center more and more. And it's difficult and it's going to be hard in the caucus to do that, but it's just, I mean anything, but Senator Murphy is a better communicator than Senator Blumenthal. All right. Senator Warnock is a better communicator than Senator Ossoff. Okay, fine. Senator Gallego is a better communicator than Senator Kelly. Doesn't mean that they're better people or better senators or
Or
better
better
anything.
senators, even.
It
Right.
just, not right, doesn't mean that. It just means that we want to get the best possible communicators out there because the country is in peril. And we got to use everything at our disposal to try to hang on here till we can have another election. It's just where we are. It's depressing and it's all get out, but it is what it is.
James, one closing note, having criticized Al Green, who I think really was just made a fool of his party last night. I read in, I believe, the Bulwark, which I love, that on the other side of the aisle, Ronnie Jackson from Texas was standing up, yelling and screaming at Green. Now, Ronnie, you remember, was the White House physician who was nominated, I think, for veterans, and he couldn't get it because, among other things, they found that Ronnie sometimes was a little bit tipsy, had a little bit too much to drink on the job, and that's not something the White House physician should do. I don't know. Maybe the standards are different for a member of the House, but Ronnie, were you feeling good cheer last night when you were yelling and screaming across the aisle?
Well, there's a long history of people being drunk
Right.
at the state. You know, they just called him the Candy Man when he was a White House physician because he handed out, drugs like they were candy. I mean, there's so many of these people. The Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend being allowed to shout at Zelensky. We know how just horrific these people are, and the best way to do that is contrast our best with their
Yep,
worst.
I agree.